Hello there, you're watching Left, Right and Centre on NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. 21 members of Parliament of the Opposition Alliance, India, are in Manipur, even as they've already moved a no-confidence motion against the government in the Lok Sabha. The members of the team visited Churachandpur, which has been the epicenter of the violence. Meanwhile, Manipur Governor Anasuya Uike also went and met some victims in relief camps today in Churachandpur. The political outreach has only just started. The investigations into the cases of violence and assault too are only now picking up pace. One in particular that shook the conscience of the nation, the case of the viral video of the sexual assault and parading of a victim naked, saw an FIR being lodged today by the CBI. Remember, this case actually happened in May, but it took the viral video for the action in the matter or for the attention to be turned to Manipur. That brings us to the crucial question. Almost 3 months of violence with lack of action by the police and administration, as is being alleged. Has this created wounds too deep, fractured the society far too much already? Can the damage be arrested and trust be rebuilt with the right action now? Starting with proper investigations, can a CBI probe reassure Manipur? That's our discussion tonight here on NDTV. Let me bring in our guests on the show. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, will be joining us shortly. Shama Mohammed, spokesperson of the Congress, will also be joining us in a bit. Sanjay Singh, senior journalist, is with us on the show. Major General Gigi Dwivedi, ex-defense expert, is here with us. And ML Sharma, former Special Director, CBI. ML Sharma, I want to come first to you, sir. The CBI is handling several cases related to the ethnic violence in Manipur. How will the handling of the case, specifically of the viral video, be different from others? And why I'm specifically asking you this is because, unfortunately, the state had been burning for over 2 months, but it took the shocking video to draw real political attention to the plight of the people in Manipur.
Thank you for having me on your show. The viral video that you're talking about is one of the most serious, most grave crimes that has occurred in this incident, and that's why this case is different from other cases. But as far as the investigation of this case is concerned, just like any other investigation, I'm very confident that CBI, when it takes up investigation, even at this belated stage, would be able to build up a strong case. In another channel, last evening I said that investigation is only one part of the story. Trial is equally important.
Absolutely.
Kind of atmosphere that we are having in Manipur at this juncture, I personally believe that trial in that state would not be viable. So it would be better to shift the trial to the neighboring state of Assam. Silchar is the right place. It's only about, a few hours journey, and now there's a train line also. So two aspects to give justice to the victims. One is proper investigation, which I'm confident CBI would do, even though the matter is much delayed. Some of the evidence would have been lost, particularly the forensic evidence, and yet I believe that it's possible to build up a good case and to identify the perpetrators of crime. Some of them have already been arrested, and perhaps some more may be arrested. Some may be taken as approvers. The concept of approver has been forgotten by Indian investigators, and even in very celebrated cases, approvers have been taken on the basis of which strong cases have been built. Mahatma Gandhi's assassination, 3 approvers are taken. Cases against Bhagat Singh, 6 approvers were taken. So, yes, I have heard people being very pessimistic about it, saying that after 3 months not be able to bring criminals to justice. I don't believe in this. An expert investigating team will be able to build up a good evidence. And trial in Manipur is not possible. It should be shifted to Silchar, which is not far off. And I would say even the jurisdiction of the Manipur High Court must be ousted by the Supreme Court, and it should be conferred on the Guwahati High Court. These are my views about this matter.
All right. Yes, I will come back to you, sir, for the crucial question of trials. And as you're pointing out, it needs to be shifted out to another state. I understand Assam could be one of them. However, the question also is that with our experience of having seen cases in the past of communal tension, the kind of trials in that which have stretched on for years on end, the question naturally arises in the minds of the people as to how swift or fast these trials can be. I'll come to you on that point, but before that I want to go across to Major General Dwivedi. Sir, the handling of the situation right now has a very complex background. The ground situation even right now is volatile. As the trust in the administration and the police have both ebbed because of the lack of seeming action, how can the army help in this situation? Again, considering that even relations with the armed forces have been pretty complex earlier with AFSPA.
Absolutely, Mahab. I think Northeast in general and Manipur in particular are very complex regions and states. Therefore, this needs actually a deep understanding of the situation. Well, having done multiple tenures in Northeast and commanded my division in Manipur, I can give you a overall view as to what the situation is today, why it is, and what can be done further. First and foremost, I think the situation today should not have been, had there been effective administration, had the state government acted actually in impartial and in a firm manner. With the support of the center, this situation could have been averted. In fact, in 2004, this situation was far worse when I commanded the division. That time, half the Manipur was under militants. There were liberated zones, and there was no administration in districts like Chura, Chandpur, Tamenglong, and even Chandel. Now, the current situation, one should understand, I think this is not being understood, that today Manipur is actually in state of civil war. There's anarchy, villages have been fortified, and the public in these villages, both militants and the villagers are armed. And there are anything about 4,000, 5,000 arms there. So therefore, today villages are like the defended localities, what we have in the armed forces, and they're facing each other. And I think Manipur is not volcanic. Second point is, you said how the army can control this situation. You see, first and foremost, armed forces operate under the civil administration. And today, Manipur state government is not effective. I think time has come to place Manipur under the central zone. And in my times also, the Manipur was actually under the state government, but there was a combined headquarter where the army had a freedom of action to take any type of operations or any type of measure. But today that is not the situation. Army today is an internal security role, means it is in assistance or in aid to civil authorities. It is not in the counterinsurgency role. So therefore, it's deeply constrained. So I would say that first and foremost, have a civil structure in place, have a combined headquarter, get the central zone, and then define the role of the army and also the other civil law enforcement agencies.
Absolutely. Army first. Okay. All right, sir. Sir, I'll interrupt you there. So let me go across to our other panelists, and I'll come back to you on certain crucial points that you've made there, but we'll just come back to you. Charu Pragya, this is a time to try and build trust. How do we expect that exercise to take place? Because even investigation requires people to have faith in the probe process. With almost 3 months of violence, how can the government assure that? Because both at the center and the state, your party has stakes.
Maha, thank you. And you're right, this entire process can only be resolved by talks which require trust on both the sides. And efforts are being made to instill this trust, and this has not been recent. This has been the case for the last 3 months. In fact, for over a month, MOS Home Nityanandji was stationed in Manipur. He was on ground when the Home Minister of India, Amit Shah ji, also visited. Over a couple of days, he had meetings with over 15 community groups, and he did his best to make sure that these communities come and talk together. But Maha, we need to understand that when there are historical wrongs to fix, peace processes take a lot of time, and these negotiations can sometimes go on for very long. Even now, currently, there are so many insurgency groups that are active in Manipur, and the reasons for that everybody knows. So till we are not able to come to a place where we are able to fix the wrongs that these insurgency groups have caused, and it has come down over the last 5 years, insurgency in Manipur has come down considerably. It's come down by nearly 80% in fact, which means much lesser civilian deaths, much lesser involvement of the armed forces on ground, and that has been critical. But of course, it's a situation which is can be sparked at any moment, at any time, and these the recent riots have been an example of that. We need to understand that when you are discussing any kind of a peace accord, and I don't want to point fingers at previous governments, but the fact is that if these talks had been initiated sometime in the past, maybe they would have accumulated and ended by now. That did not happen. So whether it is peace talks with the Naga groups or with the insurgency groups in Manipur, no efforts had been made until very recently. So getting everybody to the same page and initiating talks is requiring all efforts. Those efforts are being made.
So I get your point on the peace talks, but my point, Charu Pragya, was about the trust deficit right now with the state administration that the people feel because of what has been seen over the last 3 months. Sanjay Singh, I want to come to you on that count. Peace process, yes, that's something that is important, a complex process. But the violence could have been stopped on the ground. I'll quote some statistics here. Over 160 deaths have happened. Over 1,000 people have been injured. Around 4,000 houses have been destroyed. Around 16,000 have been moved to other states. Around 50,000 people are in relief camps, and around 350 relief camps are working in Manipur. So this is a situation that has emanated in the last 3 months. Shouldn't we, as the entire country, be ashamed of ourselves that this was happening in one part of the country and none of us could do anything about it? Sanjay Singh.
I think, Maha, it would be not fair to say that none of us cared for what was happening in Manipur. Because since the time it started happening, of course, the attention was there. Post leakage of that particular video, and which was placed on social media, the concern, of course, has been heightened. And people, actually, that's a matter of huge concern. And unfortunately, with that video coming in, other aspect of Manipur violence or conflict which is going on there, that perhaps has taken a slight backseat, which should not have been done. But fact remains that the process, the kind of attention which Manipur deserves, I think that is going on. Why this has not been contained, I don't have definitive answer, but I know that this is a border state. And as Major General Dwivedi was pointing out, the problem with that border state, and Army Chief was also there yesterday in Manipur. And he said this is a border state, and don't forget there are several foreign agencies involved here. He also named China, Myanmar, of course, we know. So therefore, the problem is more complex than in other parts of the country. There is, of course, historicity. Yes, they should have been contained. There is no second thought about it. But where the measures taken to contain it or not, that is the key issue. The other point that you're making right in the beginning about political outreach, I think political outreach is going on there for some time. But depends who has what solutions, or people have only problems to point out from either from going there or from outside. That, I think, again is a key question. The fact that the government out there and the government at the center are both of the same dispensation does not, I think, should be criteria for people to believe that fair justice, fair and fair probe not be done, and people will not have faith in investigative agencies.
Okay.
There have been history with Manipur, and after violence, Manipur has come to terms with the situation. In this particular case, unfortunately, there was nobody could actually possibly avoid that. On a very sentimental issue, there was a judgment, and therefore, whatever latent tension was below the surface came on the fore. And therefore, I think, let's see, because more concerns have been placed both by the investigation agencies, people at large, government at the center, and government in the state. what former Joint Director CBI was also pointing out. I think about moving the cases away from Manipur.
That's right.
The investigation and cases away from Manipur investigative agencies. And I think that is a good move so that a fair and impartial justice process can be initiated.
Absolutely. Shama Mohammad, the opposition MPs, and we can see those pictures we put out there, are in Manipur. They've met some of the victims as well today. They were in Churachandpur. Are they also likely to meet the state administration? Why I ask you this is because there should be an effort, ideally, to set aside political differences and work on reassuring the people of Manipur that the country stands with them.
See, Maha, because the country stands as opposition parties, India went there. We would have loved it if there was an all-party meet over there. The Prime Minister would have sent his people. The Prime Minister himself, for 3 months, haven't said the word Manipur except when he saw the viral video. That's when he said Mer. Till then, it's quiet. He's the one who's supposed to call for calm in the state. He could just say, I want peace. I mean, people listen to him, so he should do it. One. Number two, if you want a solution, you need to get rid of the problem. The problem here is Biren Singh. Unless and until he is being dismissed, nothing is going to be sorted out. His own MLA Haukip said that Biren Singh should rein in his Methi militias. This is not the MLA from Congress or from any other party, BJP. He himself, this particular MLA, said that Mr. Narendra Modi spoke just because the video became viral. 8 other MLAs went to Delhi, to the PMO, to meet Mr. Narendra Modi, saying that these 8 MLAs, again from the Bharatiya Janata Party, they have lost faith in Biren Singh. We have to understand that this is one rape case, or when the ladies were paraded, being shifted out. According to Biren Singh, there are hundreds of such cases. And we all know about the case where 2 women in a car workshop were gagged and raped and left for dead. They died. We know about an 18-year-old on a hilltop raped and she escaped. We know about an 80-year-old army veteran, freedom fighter's wife, burnt alive. We know about an ambulance in which there was a lady, a mother and a son being escorted by the police, burnt again, and they were killed. What we're saying, and many of these rape survivors have said that they have been given to the rapist by the police. So there is complete loss of faith in the system there, in the administration there. And I agree with the general sitting over here from the army that there has to be a president's rule there, or the dismissal of this particular government. And that I fail to understand why that step is not taken by Narendra Modi. She says Mr. Amit Shah is there, the Minister of State of Home is there. What's the point? If the violence is continuing and the wedge between them it's not going to be it's not going to bond soon. So we need to work out how we can, bring about, and that starts with the Prime Minister speaking in the Parliament about it. See, this is a democracy. What I see here is there is no accountability. Who is accountable for what happened? In a democracy, the most important thing is accountability.
So, Shama
the accountable person,
Shama Mohammad, so the Congress moved no confidence motion that has been admitted by the Speaker now. Will the Congress continue to ask for the Prime Minister to speak on the floor of the House? It's pretty clear now. That's what you have said. I'll come to you. Let me go across to ML Sharma, because there are certain points raised by all panelists here about trust deficit that we are seeing. And ML Sharma, in that context, of course, there are political demands that the Chief Minister himself should step down, and that will be the first step perhaps in showing that action has been initiated, dereliction of duty. If the onus lies on government servants, then it should lie with the political class as well, shouldn't it, ML Sharma? But I would ask you a political question. I'll ask you a specific question about how do you build trust, sir? When the video that we are talking about over here, that incident happened in May. The video emerged in July. There is a lag of almost 2 months there, and action wasn't taken. Under these circumstances, sir, how difficult is the job of the CBI as well now? Because getting the people just to believe that action will be taken after a fair trial is conducted will be a task right now, isn't it?
Well, as to your first point, how do you restore trust? Of course, at the moment there's a trust deficit. Nobody can deny that. But I believe that trust can be restored only by rendering justice to the victims of heinous crimes. And being an investigator, I would say meticulous investigation, though belated, and I have only decided, yes, but yeah, it's still now possible to bring on record credible evidence. A thorough investigation, meticulous investigation, quick investigation, and expeditious trial and punishment to the guilty. Only this can restore confidence of the people into the efficacy of the system that we have.
Right. I'll take that point that you're making, sir, about swift trial. Sanjay Singh, from our experience that we've seen, over and over again, trials take years sometimes to conclude. Do you think that further accentuates the problem of trust deficit?
I think lately there have also been cases where a special judge has been designated for speedy trial. There have been some instances. And in this particular case, the initiation that cases will be situated outside of Manipur High Court jurisdiction, and also probe agency will make sure that people from like CBI investigating the cases, and therefore the role of state agencies bias is minimized. And it's possible that one or two judges, because over 2,000 I believe FIRs have been filed, more will be filed in days to come. So therefore it's possible that if judges have been designated in that way, where you handle special trials, like for MLA, MP, special courts have been designated, and we have seen speedier trial getting through out there. So it's possible if those things take place. I just hope that something of that sort, because the way it has been revealed after interaction of editors with the Home Minister, this could be the process. I would like to hope so.
Okay. Charu Pragya, it may appear like a political demand that the Chief Minister steps down. But as I said, if public servants, government servants are suspended for dereliction of duty, why should a long rope be given to the political class? Why should we wait for 5 years to vote a party or a person out? Shouldn't there be swifter action as far as political class is also concerned, Charu Pragya?
Maha, you have mentioned the bureaucracy, you have mentioned the administration and the other departments that are working in any state. You need to understand there are layers and layers of officers and men and women who work under the Chief Minister. So I think it is a situation where you're only trying to score brownie points by immediately saying the Chief Minister needs to step down, because it is that one person which is keeping all the departments together, especially in a time as critical as this. This is not a normal time in the state of Manipur. So removing the head of the state at a time like this is not going to help the administration. It might cause further complications, and this is my opinion about it. Also, there is a let's remember one thing. A Chief Minister cannot be on the ground on every single street in front of every single house at all times. And he has been making sure that whether it is involvement of the central agencies, whether it is making sure more army personnel are on ground, the relief camps are working fine, the children who were left behind are reunited with their parents, the number of cases which are being registered. So what I'm trying to say is that the administration is working very hard to keep things together. It's very, very easy to be a bystander and from the outside say, we are going to visit Manipur. Please tell me, at a time like this, VVIP movement in a critical state, is it helping the administration? Okay. Are you actually participating in the process?
One second, Shama. Major General Dwivedi. Major General Dwivedi, since the armed forces very properly adhere to hierarchy, would you not say that the buck stops with the person right at the top?
Absolutely, Maha. I belong to the organization where the buck stops with the person at the top, and when things go wrong, the heads also roll. That's the way the armed forces function. But I like to take a holistic look, because Manipur is a national calamity. It's beyond the ambit of any political party because it concerns the security of the nation. And mind you, Northeast is the shield against China. And if this shield is weakened, I think we are in for a very serious problem. I have quick 3 points. First and foremost, we must restore normalcy by deploying the army and giving it a free hand to clean out all the 4,000-5,000 weapons that are there.
Right.
Simultaneously, justice must be delivered and the culprits who have perpetrated the heinous crime must be brought to justice earlier the better.
Right.
Thirdly, I think civil administration need to be overhauled. Until that is done, I don't think we'll have any solution anytime in near future.
All right. Shama Mohammed, I'm afraid I'll be able to only give you 1 minute. We are running out of time. I want you to specify what are the questions that the opposition would want to ask the government on the floor of the House when the no confidence motion is taken.
Well, first and foremost, she said that it's very difficult. There are layers and layers if the chief minister has to be replaced. I remember in Gujarat, not only the chief minister, the whole cabinet was replaced. I remember in Uttarakhand, 3 chief ministers were replaced. So you can replace chief ministers because you want to win elections and the election is around the corner. But here you are not going to remove a chief minister who is not even, according to her, not accountable. And let me make it one more thing very clear. This particular chief minister is also the home minister of that particular state. He should be removed immediately. That's our first demand. With this chief minister continuing, I'm not going to allow it to waste my time. So the chief minister has to resign immediately. The home minister, let's remember during the 26/11, she said bystander. The bystander, Mr. Modi, when the terrorist attack was happening there, was blaming India and not Pakistan. That's called a bystander. Do you understand, lady? That's a bystander who's blaming us. So here there are no bystanders.
Because we are running
there are no bystanders here.
What are the 2 questions that the opposition will ask on the floor of the House? Very quickly.
We want to know how all these people are going to get justice. Yes, you've moved out one case, one. Number 2, we want immediate resignation of Biren Singh.
Right.
This man cannot continue because he's blood on hands.
And
that is very important.
We hope
and
that on the floor of the House.
And all party meet at Manipur.
All right.
And the Prime Minister has to speak.
Next week, we hope that these questions are put up. A discussion takes place on the floor of the House so that everybody's viewpoint can be brought in and there is a collective assurance from the Parliament that goes to Manipur as well. Many thanks to all our panelists for joining us here on the discussion. We're taking a very quick break now. News and updates will continue. Stay with us.